Yo, what is cracking, boys, and welcome back to the channel with Exhausted. So you've joined me on my way back home from getting a new tyre for the MX-5 because one of the tyres on the back was pretty worn. And yeah, it seems I've got into some revolving cycle that because my tracking used to be out quite a lot, one of the tyres was wearing unevenly to the other rear tyre. And now I'm in some sort of stupid cycle for replacing one at a time when I'm drifting, because I had a new one and a half-worn one, then the half-worn one wears out before the new one, and yeah, it's just a bit silly. But yeah, since the MX-5 is off the road, I didn't think there was any point replacing both. I just thought we'd get a new tyre for the purpose of the road trip. So yeah, we're safe on the way back, and we've got two tyres with tread and they don't blow up on the motorway, because that would be a ball ache and pretty dangerous to say the least. But yeah, anyway, we're going to head home and then yeah, I'm going to crack on with the interior on the MX-5. Right then, so we've just arrived home from the tyre place and the new tyres are on the rear of the MX-5, ready for some skiddy boy action. What we're going to be doing in today's episode is we're going to be doing all of the wiring for the centre console and putting the centre console back into the MX-5 with all the wiring systems working perfectly. So yeah guys, if you're not interested in wiring and electrics, this isn't going to be the most entertaining video in that aspect. We're not doing anything crazy, we're soldering together wires, resistors, switches and LED bulbs. So yeah, if you're not interested in that, then you're probably best clicking off the video now. But for all of you guys who are interested, let's crack on with the video and I'll show you the diagram which I drew and showed you in one of my previous videos, and we'll crack on soldering these together. So as you guys would have seen if you watched my previous video, this is our wiring diagram, how we're going to be wiring the centre console together. It looks very complicated, but trust me, it's not that complicated at all. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to wire up one of these systems because they're going to be running three separate appliances, which are going to be two fans and a dead circuit, because I don't know what this is going to be for the time being, but three switches look better than two there. And yeah, we'll definitely find a use for it over the next few weeks when I decide what I'm going to do. Because yeah, I'm going to be adding things like launch control, all of that sort of thing to the MX-5, and yeah, it'd be handy to have launch control on a little switch so we can flick it on and it's all ready if we want to do some launches. So what we're going to do first is we're going to start soldering all of our resistors together. So we're basically going to want to attach a big one to a small one 3 times. Now it doesn't matter what way around your resistors go, you can have them either way around, it doesn't make a difference, it will still work just fine. But yeah, we'll be soldering them together just like this, getting them as close as possible. So what I'll do for the first one, so I'm going to trim it down slightly. So what I've done, I've put a resistor into there, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to coat this wire in solder, and then bish bash bosh. We've got them two nicely soldered together, and I'll just leave these to dry for a bit. So now we've got all the pairs of resistors soldered together. As you can see if we look up close, these are not textbook solders to say the least. But yeah, I'm no electronics professional, I'm not a soldering master, so these will do the job. They're strong as anything, which is all that matters to me. It doesn't matter what they look like, because we're going to cover them in heat shrink tubing anyway. But yeah, now what we're going to do is we're going to solder these to our LEDs. So to solder the LED to this, we're just going to put this in here, just to give it some sort of stand. And we're going to be using a piece of single core wire. Now what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to leave some of this, just so we don't melt the insulation, and wrap this round the centre, in between our two resistors. Just like so. And as you can see, that's attached on like that. And now we're just going to solder this together, exactly how we soldered before. So like you guys saw in those clips, we made loads of these little T-shapes. We're just going to cover this whole section in heat shrink tubing, just especially the middle section, to ensure there's no shorts or anything like that and it doesn't touch on anything, and just to keep this nice and safe. So as you can see right here, we've got all 3 of our T-pieces soldered together and covered in heat shrink tubing. So what we're going to do next is, as you can see over here, we've installed one of the LEDs into the centre console, and we're going to go ahead and do the other 2 LEDs and all 3 of the switches, and then we'll solder everything together when it's on the centre console. Right, as you you saw in those clips, we've put the switches and the LEDs into the centre console. Well, it looks pretty cool. But I can't really wait until the whole centre console is back in the MX-5 and we've got a proper idea of what it's going to look like when it's got the shifter gaiter in there, the top for the cover, and yeah, the whole shebang, to be honest. Yeah, what we're going to do now is that wire which we wired off of our T, the long piece of wire, it's going to go into the positive terminal off our LEDs. And guys, if you want to know which one's the positive one, it's always the longer stalk on any component, if there's positive and negative 9 times out of 10, because there's more line in a plus than a minus. So yeah, it makes sense that the long one would be the positive. So since we last spoke, I've done a bit of work, so let's flip the camera around, show you where we're up to and talk about what we're doing next. Like you saw in the previous time lapse, we've soldered on all of our little teed off resistor things to the positive on these, and we've basically got our 3 positive, it stands up, our 3 positive cables for the switch, which is going to be going to 12 volt power. Now they're all connected together just to make it easier, and then we've got our 3 basically, I guess, signal wires or negative, whatever you want to call it. So basically when that's switched on, each of these 3 wires will get power whenever a switch is turned on. So for example, you switch on the first switch, this one has power. Second switch, this one has power. Third switch, this one has power. So what we're going to do now is we're going to run these and we're going to attach them into here. But what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to tee this off, because we want power to go to our bulb, to turn our bulb on, to say the circuit's on. But we also want power, which is going to go to the appliance, which is going to obviously turn it on and make it work. So what we're going to do now, I've got 3 bits of wire to size, which are perfect to go connect them up into there. And then we're going to have another bit of wire coming out of each of these, which are they all going to come up to here, which are going to be our signal wires, which are going to go straight to the appliances and turn them on, like in this picture. So as you can see, this is what I'm talking about. We're teeing it off. One of them's connecting up to this circuit which we've just made, the little T-piece, and the other one's going all the way to our appliance. And this is how you draw an appliance, but yeah, just for argument's sake. Now you probably get the idea by now on how to solder these wires together. So what we're going to do is we'll catch up once it's all soldered together and once this is ready to go back in the car, and we actually can do the wiring inside the car. But in terms of this actual piece, that is pretty much everything. Ah yeah, I forgot, let's flip the camera again. So yeah, if you don't know anything about wiring, or if you're not following, guys, this is probably going to confuse you even more. It's probably confusing enough as it is. But obviously we've got our negative terminals on all of our LEDs. Now these obviously have to be grounded for the circuit to work, but also I said these were going to go into the resistors, so these are going to go into the big side of our resistor thing, but the small side also needs to be grounded. So we're going to have to connect each of the prongs on those to their respective negative prong on there, and then that will go straight into here and be grounded. We'll connect them all together and we'll have another ground similar to this on this side. Right, so as you can see, we've pretty much wired up everything and it just looks like a mess of wires at the moment. But yeah, we're going to have to tuck this all neatly under the centre console, but we'll obviously do that once all of the wiring's done, and then we can just tuck it all up all in one go and like attach wires together into like a nice wiring loom. But if I give you an overview of what we've done, so we've got our 12 volt input, which is here, not 12 volts, which goes into the switches. Then from our switches, we've got 3 coming out of there, which are then spliced into basically 2 wires. We've got 3 of them which come out the front, which is going to go straight to the appliances to give them 12 volts power. And then the other half of it follows back here, goes for our little resistor setup, then comes all the way back up here. In the middle of the resistor setup, we've got a wire running parallel, which comes all the way down to run the LED, which is then grounded. These is basically all the 3 wires, which is the grounds for all 3 LEDs. And then all we've got to do now is we've got 3 grounds on each of these little resistors, So there's 1, 2, 3. So we have to run 3 wires from there up to about here. So just solder on 3 bits of wire, and then we're done. And we can go ahead, knitting this all up and look to install it back in the MX-5. So yeah guys, we'll catch up when we're down in the garage, putting the final finishing touches to the centre console and putting it into the MX-5. So we will catch up in a bit. Right then boys, so after about 4 or 5 hours of wiring and soldering, because my soldering skills, like I said previously, aren't A1, we have finally done all of the wiring for the centre console, and yeah, I'm really pleased with how it turned out. So as you can see, we've got our 3 switches and 3 LEDs on here, and if we flip this over, you can see I've actually neatened up this wiring as much as possible, wrapped here all in electrical tape, and that basically will sit in there. And then we've got our 2 grounds coming out here, which have 3 wires going into each one, so there's actually 6 grounds, but 2 grounds, just to make it easy to wire up. We've got our positive connection right there, and then we've got our 3 wires, which are going to be like the 12-volt outputs. So I've labelled them blue, yellow and red, so I know which one operates which switch, and they're going to go to the 2 fans, and I've decided the 3rd one is going to be for launch control, which I'm going to be setting up also over the next few videos on the car. So yeah, if you guys want to know how to set up launch control, keep your eyes peeled over the next couple of weeks on the channel, and there will be a video on that also. So yeah, all we've got to do to get the centre console back inside the MX-5 now is to bolt on the gear shift gaiter. We're going to wrap the top cover for the centre console like cubby hole, and we're going to be wrapping that with some quilted leather because that's going to look epic and go with the scheme very nicely. And then yeah, we're ready to put that back in the car, wire up those last few cables, and then we'll have some operational switches. But yeah guys, anyway, we'll catch up tomorrow because the football's on in 20 minutes and I need to eat a pizza beforehand because I'm absolutely ravenous. So yeah guys, we will catch up tomorrow morning and finish off this installation. So guys, funnily enough, the football was actually on at 8 rather than 7. So yeah, put everything away to then take it straight back out for another half an hour so we can crack on with this centre console alongside a nice pint of Stella. So yeah, let's reinstall this gear shifter gaiter and start wrapping the top pad for the cubby hole in the centre console. Yo, right then guys, it's the next day and we have actually already installed the centre console back into the MX-5, but we haven't wired it all up, so we've got a couple of loose wires to connect. What we've actually done is we've done the 2 ground wires, but we haven't wired up the 12-volt positive or wired up any of the fans or anything like that yet. So yeah, without no further ado, let's reveal the centre console. Now tell me that doesn't look absolutely sick. I'm super stoked with how that's turned out. And if you don't think it looks sick, then what are you doing on the video? Because that looks epic, boys. But yeah, look how this interior is coming together. Wow. Anyway, what we're going to be doing now is we're going to be wiring up the rest of these wires so we can actually have 3 functioning switches. So basically when you flick them on, the lights are actually going to come on if I've done the wiring correctly earlier in the video. So we will see. I really hope they do work, otherwise it's going to be a nightmare to pull this all back out. So yeah guys, I think I've done more than enough recording of me doing wiring, soldering, heat shrinking and the whole shebang for today's video. So what we'll do is we'll catch up once it's all in and I'll show you it working. Fingers crossed anyway. So guys, I finally wired in the 12-volt positive and now all of our switches are functional. Well, they're not because I still need to do the launch control, everything like that, but that's coming in the following video guys. So I am super hyped. So yeah, let's go around to the car, look at that little sexy beast, and flip the camera around and show you them working because I am super hyped. So guys, if we hop into Mia, the amount of exercise I am getting hopping in and out of this car is sick. But anyway, as you can see, all 3 of our bulbs are off, the ignition's off and nothing works because we've wired it up so it's only on when the ignition works. So if we pop round here, what we've actually done as well is if someone breaks in, they can't drain my battery because it will only work if the immobiliser has been deactivated as well. So even if you've got power. So yeah, boy. So yeah, man, if we bang the ignition on, oh shit. Hey, power. My boost gauge is not getting power. Why? Fuck's sake. That's an issue for another day. Yeah, but anyway, let's flick the switches. 1, 2, 3. All working, bish bash bosh. Yeah, that would explain why the boost gauge isn't working. It's not bloody plugged in! Right, anyway guys, so I've just sorted out the wiring harness for the boost gauge. Oh, look at that lighting. And anyway, we're gonna leave the video there because I think been quite a long one. I've spent a few days sorting out all this wiring. But yeah, that was the more tedious part. Now we've literally got, no, I promise you guys, I've said we've got one more episode left of the interior. The next episode on the interior, apart from obviously launch control, flat foot shifting and that whole shebang, but that's not really part of the interior restoration. After the next interior video, we will be completely finished with the interior. Well, it'll be back together, but it'll be nowhere near completely done because the bucket seats aren't going to go in yet. Because I need to buy a welder and make some brackets to get them in. And like I was saying, I've got a rally coming up, so we need to be able to sit in the car, of course. But yeah, anyway guys, massive thanks for watching. Smash that thumbs up button if you enjoyed the video. And as always, don't forget to subscribe down below if you're new here. If you're already subscribed, then what are you waiting for, guys? Hit that notification bell icon so you're automatically updated whenever I upload. And yeah guys, until the next one, adios.